Hi, Pastor Kip here. I want you to use your imagination with me for a moment. Imagine that it's 1555 and the Roman Catholics across the river in Muscle Shoals invaded the city of Florence to kill all the Protestants. Or imagine that all the Protestants in Madison, Alabama, rose up and went over to Huntsville and slaughtered all of the Roman Catholics. Now, if something like that happened today, it would be hard for us even to imagine. It wouldn't happen. We all kind of exist and have learned to exist in peace. But of course, that's not the way it has always been. Tonight, at the fourth session of the Institute of Religious Studies, we will consider the impact of the Protestant Reformation and how the Roman Catholic establishment responded, causing conflict and war, and how that was eventually resolved, and how Protestants and Roman Catholics learn to recognize those things they have in common and those things that are contrasted, but also to recognize that through Christ we should all be able to exist in society together. Tonight, I hope you'll join me. If you haven't been able to be here for the first three of the Institute sessions, you can just jump right in tonight, and that'd be great. We'll build on what we've talked about thus far with Martin Luther and Ulrich Zwingli, the Reformation in Germany, the Reformation spreading into Switzerland, and even beyond. Tonight, we'll go beyond that, even into France, how the Protestant Reformation impacted France itself, all because of the conflict and the resolutions that existed then gives us an opportunity to be who we are today. I look forward to seeing you tonight at 6 p.m. in the fellowship hall downstairs for the continuation of the Institute of Religious Studies. This coming Sunday, speaking of conflict and religious wars, if you will, we have a focus on the apostles. As I continue this series on the Dirty Dozen, in search of the 12 apostles, we will consider this Sunday one of the most interesting and enigmatic of the apostles known as Simon the Zealot. We use that word today differently. They're very zealous for whatever the issue. You fill in the blank. But in the days of Jesus, a zealot meant something else altogether. And the fact that Jesus would include Simon the Zealot, as he is identified in the Gospels, in the 12, the circle of the 12, says a lot about Jesus. It also says a lot about his enemies. It also says a lot about the other apostles that were in the group. And it says a lot about us. Here's a little spoiler alert. There's some good evidence to show that Simon the Zealot was actually a distant cousin of Jesus. And maybe the family relationship played into the dynamic of why Jesus chose Simon the Zealot to be one of his apostles. Simon the Zealot has something to say to each of us, as all of these apostles have, but it has something to call us to, something to draw us toward when we really discover what he's all about. You can always look it all up on Wikipedia and find out for yourself and skip church on Sunday. But I would encourage you to be here because you just might miss something very important about how we apply seriously who Simon the Zealot was, why Jesus chose him, and what he has to say to us today. I will look forward to seeing you this coming Sunday as well. God bless you, and I look forward to it soon.